Good day to you. My name is Katuk. The name of this podcast is Catch It, A New Perception. Over the last now 7 seasons, as we wrap up the 7th season with this episode, we have talked a lot about how we change our perception. Sometimes it's not in the forefront of our minds when we listen to an episode that this is about changing our perception. We'll just talk about something and it will take us into a place where we realize that when we take a different action, we will think different. Or we will begin to think different by continuing to be introduced to new ideas. So one action that someone could take is maybe listening to an episode of this podcast or another, or re-listening to it and beginning to change the way you think or opening your mind will allow you to feel different. Is it a feeling that you want, or is it something that you're uncomfortable with and you need to change again? There are many ways to see how we can change our perception. There are many different things we can do to change how we feel. And a catalyst for many of us is to change the way we think so we will feel different. Through the episodes, through the seasons, throughout this podcast, I have given you many different examples on how your thinking will dictate how you feel. Are you ready to take the actions to do that? The reason I ask is because really it all comes down to you deciding that you want to feel different, and you're going to introduce yourself to the ideas that will get you to think different. Introduce yourself to a new way of living, if you will. A new way of thinking. A new way of showing up. All kinds of new ideas. So when you go back to an old way of thinking, or an old way of showing up, do you go back to the way that you used to feel? The way that you felt about yourself? The way that you felt about others? How much of it changes? How much of it stays the same? How much do you have a desire to think or feel different? If you like the results of what you get and how you treat people, you'll keep treating people the same way. If you don't like what you get, then you'll probably have to change your behavior to get different results, get people to react different to you. What about the way that you treat yourself? What about the approach that you take with yourself? The reason I ask is because you're in charge of all of it. You're in charge of how you think. You're in charge of how you feel. You're in charge of being able to take the next step, to shift the trajectory forward so that you can see the entire world differently. I have been asked to observe everyone, judge no one. Observe everything, judge nothing. When I say don't judge, it's not that I shouldn't use discernment. It means that I shouldn't judge and condemn. So to judge and use some discernment so that I can make an informed decision, because last time I did this didn't work out very well, so I think I'm going to do it differently, is using discernment. To say, I know how this person will react because they've always reacted this way, and I'm going to judge them on their past actions because I don't believe that they'll ever change. That's an interesting statement. I get that you have to have expectations that people are going to react the way they've often reacted in the past. And if they've had a different experience, if they've gone through some things, and maybe sometimes those are hardships in life. Sometimes that's some difficulties in their life, and they will shift their way of thinking. How often have you shifted the way you've thought after hardships? Some people have dealt with some trauma. Some people have some PTSD and some difficulties in their life. And when they begin to grow out of that and get through that and put that in their past and put it where it needs to be in their past rather than also in their present, how much could you say, well, they're going to react the same way as they always did, when they're going to react totally different now? How often can you do that? How many times have you done that? Where you've put something in your past and all of a sudden you treat people differently than you ever have. This is changing your perception. This is how you catch a new perception. Whether it's through therapy, whether it's through maybe different ideas on how you can do it. I know some people, if they have certain difficulties with certain things, may need some medication, and then maybe some therapy, and then maybe some good conversation with friends, then maybe an experience with a spiritual advisor that can help them to see things different. Then the next time you make an approach with them, they're going to react differently. So if you judge them on their past because of who they were before they were seeing a therapist, before they were taking the medication, before they were living the way they're living, and you expect them to react the same, they won't. This is the condemning that we don't need to do in this world because it doesn't help us. Should we use some discernment because people have always treated us a certain way, and when we get into a certain situation, we know they're going to treat us the same? Let's use some discernment and stay away from the situation. That way, they won't treat us the same because we're not going to put ourselves in a position to be hurt, to be treated that way. So now our thinking changes because we're not going to put ourselves in a position to be around those people that would treat us the same way they've always treated us. And when they prove to us that they're going to treat us differently, then we put ourselves in a different position again. This all comes down to changing the way that you think, not changing the way that they think. That is the perception that I need to change, is my own, not someone else's. Some people just think a certain way, they act a certain way, and they believe that this is who they are, and they're going to live and die this way. Okay. Now I can make up my mind whether I want to be in their presence or not, whether I want to invite them into my home, whether I want to go have coffee with them, go grab a bite to eat, have some conversation, or not. So again, this is how I change my perception of someone else, is by deciding that I don't want to be around them, giving them the benefit of the doubt that they were maybe different than what they were. And when I get an opportunity, maybe I'll see that firsthand. Maybe they're going to prove to me that they haven't changed and their behavior is still the same. I think of sometimes people with a drug addiction or other types of addiction, how that could be the case, where we want to believe that they're going to be different, and their actions often are very much the same from day to day. So what is it I can do to be able to change the way that I think today? Can I be less selfish? Can I be more giving? Can I be more generous with my time, my effort, my emotion, my conversation? Is that generosity? Or is generosity in your mind always financial? To me, generosity could be spending time, doing something for someone, being generous with my time, being generous with my emotions, be generous with the fact that I'm open emotionally and I'm available. And sometimes I need to step back from that. To know that I'm not one that can heal another human being, that they must heal themselves. We've talked about that in different episodes, how different types of people will react differently to different things, and you're the only one who can truly take care of yourself. I understand we often have this relationship with this power, the Creator, this power inside of us that can allow us to change. Some people will call that the power of God in each individual. Whatever that is, I know that each one of us have that. Use whatever terminology you're comfortable with. That can change your perception one way or another. What is it you want to walk with? Do you want to be happy? I've heard some people say, do you want to be happy or do you want to be right? Sometimes forcing your will upon other people, when we're not able to observe everyone and judge nothing, observe everything and judge nothing, no one. Sometimes when we're not able to do that, we force our will upon other people or we force our will upon ourselves and we make the situation worse. That doesn't help us to feel better about the world. What is it you're going to do today to make yourself feel better about the world, about the people around you? To realize that the world is made up of different people. People have the right to their opinion. They have a right to live the way that they want, I believe. There are places in the world where people will tell you you don't have that right. I live in a space and within a community that allows me to be able to believe that I have that right to be who I am and to allow you to be who you are. And I've been given some wonderful examples of that in my lifetime. People that have showed me that they are willing to allow you to be who you are. And I want more of that. My perception is that I have the right to be wrong. That not necessarily everything I say is right. And I'm okay with that. I'm not okay living in a world of being hurt or hurting other people. I don't want to be there. I don't want to talk down to another human being. As one group of people I spend some time with like to say, never talk down to anyone from any moral or spiritual hilltop. I like the idea of that. That's something that resonates with me and can change my perception forever. As long as I continue to repeat that mantra to myself quietly, that I never want to talk down to anyone from any moral or spiritual hilltop, I will be right-sized today. There is much I have to learn. I will walk through this lifetime learning what I can. I look forward to seeing each and every one of you at any opportunity that I may have. I look forward to you reaching out to me. Those of you that I know, I look forward to reaching out to you. I will walk with a good heart today. I will walk with good intentions today. And to the best of my ability, my intentions and my heart will walk together. Looking forward to next time. Dok Shauke. Later again. Or see you again in this lifetime or the next. live in harmony with, and use the bounty of the land to bring kindness to the world.